The Vatican's secret archives, nestled beneath the holy edifice of St. Peter's Basilica, are a repository of intrigue. These archives are a veritable vault, home to an estimated 53 linear miles of shelving containing documents that date back as far as the 8th century. Not simply a library, this labyrinthine collection is organized into different sections, each hosting materials from specific periods or of particular significance. At first glance, the archives may seem merely a historical record, but a closer look reveals much more. The vault contains documents from numerous popes, many of whom played pivotal roles in shaping world events. Personal letters, official decrees, and confidential transcripts all find a place here, each piece contributing to the intricate tapestry of human history. But what truly makes this vault mysterious is its elusive nature. While some of the archives are available to scholars, there is a vast section that remains strictly off-limits. The reasons for this restriction are a matter of speculation. Are their secrets too volatile for the public eye? Could the hidden depths of the vault contain information that would challenge our very understanding of the church, history, or politics? The architecture of the archives is itself a thing of fascination. It's not just a storeroom, but a carefully designed space, almost like a fortress guarding knowledge. The controlled environment, including temperature and humidity, helps preserve ancient manuscripts. It's a place where the past is kept alive, and where every scroll or piece of parchment whispers tales of intrigue, power, faith, and human endeavor. The Vatican's mysterious vault is more than a mere collection. Within the shadowy corridors of the Vatican's secret archives lie the echoes of forbidden knowledge, heretical texts, and documents that have been silenced through history. These forbidden books and heretical texts are not just mere collections of words, but potent symbols of differing beliefs and doctrines that once threatened the very fabric of the Church's authority. The Index Librorum Prohibitorum, or the list of prohibited books, was established in the 16th century and maintained until the 20th century. It was a catalogue of publications deemed heretical, anti-clerical, or lascivious by the Church. The authors of these books were often branded as heretics, and their works were suppressed, sometimes destroyed. But copies of some of these books found their way into the Vatican's vault, preserving a record of ideas that were once considered too dangerous to exist. Among the forbidden texts are writings by scientists and philosophers who challenged the Church's views on the universe. The works of Galileo Galilei, who was famously tried and condemned for his support of heliocentrism. His writings and the transcripts of his trial are tangible reminders of the conflict between faith and reason. Alongside scientific treatises are mystical and esoteric texts, writings that delved into alchemy, astrology, and the occult. These works often blended religious ideas with mystical thought, creating syncretic beliefs that were seen as threats to the orthodox doctrines of the Church. But the vault's shelves are not just filled with the works of outsiders. There are also documents related to internal dissent and theological debates within the Church itself. Theologians and clergymen who dared to question or reinterpret church dogma often found their works condemned. The archives preserve these internal struggles, showing a church grappling with its own identity and the challenges of spiritual interpretation. The forbidden books and heretical texts of the Vatican's secret archives are more than historical curiosities. They represent a complex interplay between power, knowledge, and belief. By preserving these texts, the Church has inadvertently created a treasure trove that allows us to explore the fringes of religious thought and the human desire to seek understanding beyond the accepted truths. The vast repository of the Vatican secret archives is not confined solely to religious matters. It extends deep into the corridors of political secrets and intrigue. The influence of the Catholic Church has spanned the globe, intertwined with empires and nations, kings and presidents. This relationship between church and state has led to an accumulation of documents that paint a vivid picture of political maneuvering, diplomatic negotiations, and covert operations. Inside the walls of the archives, one can find treaties, correspondence, and intelligence reports that detail the Church's interaction with various governments and political entities. Letters from monarchs, transcripts of secret meetings, and notes from confidential informants are all carefully preserved. These documents provide an unparalleled window into the political landscape of different eras. An example is the Concordat of Worms, an agreement between Pope Calixtus II and Holy Roman Emperor Henry V that settled the investiture controversy. This document marked a significant moment in the balance of power between the Church and the secular rulers of Europe. It's a concrete example of the Church's political acumen and the influence it wielded in international affairs. The Church's role in political matters was not always transparent or forthright. The archives contain evidence of behind-the-scenes diplomacy, such as clandestine negotiations during the Cold War. It is said that the Church played a mediating role between the East and the West, facilitating dialogues that might otherwise have been impossible. There are also dark chapters hidden within these vaults, including files related to the Church's relationship with totalitarian regimes. Documents concerning the Church's interaction with Nazi Germany, Fascist Italy, and other authoritarian governments have been subjects of controversy and intense scrutiny. These interactions raise profound questions about moral responsibility, collaboration, and the fine line between pragmatism and complicity. One must also not overlook the scandals and internal politics of the Church itself. There are documents related to internal power struggles, schisms, and even allegations of corruption within the highest echelons of the Vatican. These papers reveal a complex and sometimes messy reality that contrasts with the public image of the institution. The political secrets housed within the Vatican Secret Archives offer a multifaceted view of history. They expose the Church's active role in shaping the world stage, navigating the treacherous waters of international politics, and sometimes making morally ambiguous choices. Within the hallowed halls of the Vatican Secret Archives lies a treasure trove of personal letters from some of history's most iconic figures. These letters, carefully preserved over centuries, provide an intimate window into the minds, souls, and the very human sides of people who shaped the course of history. Imagine holding a letter penned by the hand of Joan of Arc, conveying her unwavering faith and dedication, or poring over the meticulous strokes of Michelangelo as he corresponded about the intricacies of his art. The mere touch of these papers connects one with the emotions, desires, and thoughts of those who lived centuries ago. One particularly notable collection is the correspondence between the kings and queens of Europe and various popes. Through these exchanges, one can trace the political maneuvers, alliances, and sometimes personal vendettas that intertwine the fates of church and state. A personal favorite of many historians is the letter from England's King Henry VIII, pleading for the annulment of his marriage to Catherine of Aragon, a pivotal moment that would lead to the English Reformation. But who has actually been granted access to this maze of hidden treasures? The answer is more complicated and intriguing than one might imagine. Historically, the Vatican Secret Archives were off limits to anyone outside the upper echelons of the Church. Popes, cardinals, and select scholars were the only ones privy to its contents. In this secretive environment, rumors and speculations flourished, adding to the aura of mystique surrounding the archives. However, in the 19th century, Pope Leo XIII made a revolutionary decision to open the archives to researchers. This landmark move signaled a shift in the Church's approach to its history, from guarded secrecy to a more open engagement with the academic community. Yet, even with this open-door policy, access to the archives is anything but simple. To gain entry, scholars must undergo a rigorous vetting process. They must present their credentials, detail their research objectives, and demonstrate a compelling academic need to access specific documents. Once granted entry, they are ushered into a world that few have the privilege to explore. Perhaps one of the most intriguing aspects of the question, who has actually been there, is the unknown. For every documented visitor, there may be others whose presence was kept secret for reasons known only to the Church. So why is access to these archives so tightly controlled? And what might the Church be safeguarding? The archives hold a vast array of documents that span over a millennium. Within these documents are sensitive correspondences, treaties, excommunications, heresy trials, and other records that, if taken out of context or misused, could lead to misunderstandings or manipulations of historical facts. The restrictions are in place to ensure that only those with a legitimate and responsible academic purpose have access. The archives contain some of the oldest and most fragile documents in existence. These include papal bulls, illuminated manuscripts, and letters from historical figures. Strict control over who can handle these documents ensures that they are preserved for future generations. The rules are stringent, with guidelines on how to handle the documents without causing wear or damage. The Church's theology is central to the understanding of many of the documents within the archives. Without a strong grasp of Catholic doctrine and history, misinterpretations can easily occur. By restricting access to trained scholars and theologians, the Vatican aims to prevent misreadings and misrepresentations of the materials. Interestingly, the aura of secrecy itself may be a reason for the continued restriction. By maintaining a certain level of mystique and exclusivity, the Church underscores the importance and sacredness of the knowledge contained within the walls. This in turn heightens the respect and caution with which scholars approach their work in the archive. Finally, it's worth considering that not all the archive's contents are known even to the Vatican staff. With millions of documents documents and some sections that have yet to be fully catalogued or explored, there might be materials whose significance is not yet understood. Restricting access ensures that the discovery and interpretation of these hidden gems are conducted in a controlled and thoughtful manner. And as always, thanks for watching.